Hey guys, how's it going? It's April 28th, a little after 11:15. First night of the draft is in the books, and just coming on just to talk about it. I did do a prediction show, and I should have written down what I said because I don't remember everything. So, if you did listen to the prediction show and now you're listening to this, please feel free to call me out if I say I got something right where I really didn't. Um, some surprises, some not so surprising. I mean, I don't think it's that too much of a surprise that Roman is staying on SmackDown. I really thought he should have been moved to Raw, but I think it was just obvious that he was going to stay on SmackDown. The interesting thing what they're doing now is if you watch SmackDown, you see that only Paul, Sokoa, and Roman were drafted as the bloodline. The Usos were left out in the cold. So it's interesting to see, are the Usos going to get sent to SmackDown, get sent to Raw and just be, in obscurity right now while they run wild, and somehow the Usos have to get back into the good graces. So let's say they, do they have to get the United States Championship and Intercontinental Championship? Is that something that they would have to do? Or I don't know this, but are there other family members that are down in NXT right now that could get called up and they would be used to replace the Usos? So I have to say, they're finding ways to keep you interested in the Bloodline storyline because, I mean, it's been a long time and, by now, it should have run its course. But so far, they have been managing, when you think it's getting stale, they've managed to at least keep the Bloodline storyline. I mean, as Roman as champion, I said that before. Again, you're going to have to find ways where people are not bored. So while some may in real life, backstage, may be complaining that Roman is part-time now, that he's not there all the time, the way you've built him up, you can't have him there every single night because people are going to get bored of him. And at least now you've given him, a fresh face. Excuse me, you're giving him, a fresh face to, to work with. Because I don't think Bobby Lashley has had a match against Roman for the title. And I believe you have AJ Styles on there now too. So, they can work that. So maybe AJ's going to face him in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I mean, these new roster changes, well, no, by the time Saudi Arabia comes around, this will be in effect. So just to go down the list and everything like that, Cody Rhodes is staying on Raw, which that I had correct. I mean, he just got there, so why are you going to flip him? Yes, I know you could say, well, he can get back at Roman. Like I said, Roman, once you figured out where Roman was going to land, that kind of helps you to some degree figure out, okay, who's going to be the champion. And, Cody's staying on Raw, so does that mean Cody's going to get the title? There's rumors, I said before, that Seth Rollins is the rumored person who's supposed to get the title reign. So does that mean he's staying on Raw? So I think that helps. So to me, right now, it's between Cody and Seth. Because I couldn't figure out what to do with Seth. I don't know if you move Seth to SmackDown, you keep him on Raw. I think I said leave him on Raw. I think, again, if I'm wrong, call me out on it. I think I said leave Seth there. So I would like to see Finn Balor win the title. If Finn Balor gets shifted to SmackDown, which I believe I have him going to SmackDown, that's not going to happen. So I think you can pretty much, I'm not going to say in stone, but I think there's a good chance it's either going to be Cody or it's going to be Seth. So that means Cody dethroning Roman is not going to, most likely it's not going to happen unless Cody wins Money in the Bank. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I've said it before, if you didn't hear my other videos, I just feel that is not only doing an injustice to what you've done with Roman, but to Cody as well, because Cody came back to win the title, okay? And anything less is a letdown. And not letting him dethrone Roman, to me now, looks like a mistake. Because now you're introducing this title. If you were going to introduce this title, or if you knew you were always going to do this, which obviously they did, then I think you should have let Cody have that moment of dethroning Roman, and then Roman could have won. You could have had Roman go to Raw and win that world title, or vice versa, whatever. He was dethroned, boom, you could put the belt back on him with the world heavyweight title, and maybe he could start another reign for like a year rather than two and a half, 3 years. You know, because I believe SummerSlam's going to make 3 years since he's won the Universal title. So Cody's staying on Raw. I'm surprised by the way that Becky Lynch is staying on Raw. I thought they would have shifted her over because I think Becky has pretty much run her course on Raw. Obviously, they feel that she hasn't. Imperium is being switched over. I wasn't sure if they were going to flip-flop. I did mention that. I believe I did say switch Imperium over to Raw. Again, if I'm incorrect, call me out on it. But I believe I did have Imperium going to Raw. Because I think the most likely competitors you had for him, he's pretty much run through. Matt Riddle, I'm surprised they're leaving on Raw. I had him going to SmackDown. But, you know, Riddle did just get back. But I thought he probably would have been better on SmackDown. I believe I had Drew McIntyre going to Raw because he's pretty much done all he can do on SmackDown. It's time for him to get, you know, something new. The Miz, I believe I said send The Miz to SmackDown because I think they haven't done anything with him on Raw. And ever since Triple H has taken over, you know, The Miz has just not been, you know, he's been a joke. And I think The Miz, at this point in his career, for what he has done, how good he is in the ring, how good he is on the mic, you know, he deserves better treatment. And I know, you know, he would probably say this is part of it. I can create moments, all that stuff. I get that. But I would like to see him get a nice, serious run with the championship. And that might happen. Shinsuke, I think I said, I know he just got back. So I really wasn't sure what to go to do with him. I think I said leave him on SmackDown. Part of me, I feel like I said send him to Raw, but I think I did say leave him on SmackDown. So I'm going to say I got that one wrong. And I did mention that they're going to start bringing people up from NXT, and now they're bringing up the NXT Women's Champion, India Hartwell. She'll be up there. So let's see who she's going to feud with. Obviously, she has to drop the title. So let's see who she's going to feud with. I mean, Becky right now is obviously tied up with Trish right now. So it'll be very interesting to see, you know, who she goes after. And then on SmackDown, we talked about the Undisputed title, champion rather, Roman Reigns. He's going to be staying on SmackDown. This was a bit of a surprise because I really wasn't sure what they were going to do with this. And I know I said that Bianca Belair is going to stay on Raw because she's the Raw champion, and that Rhea had just won the SmackDown championship. So that's why I thought they were going to leave her on Raw. But they're switching her. So now what are you going to do? Are you going to have, and they've done this before. I mean, you guys have seen this. They did it with the tag titles, that the Street Profits, I forgot who they had to swap the titles with. I think it was New Day. I think the last time they did the draft, I think New Day was New Day the Raw champion and Street Profit was SmackDown? And then they switched it where they gave Street Profits to Raw and New Day the SmackDown. I might have it backwards, but either way they had to swap titles. And if you remember the whole famous thing, the infamous thing rather, with Trish, with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Remember that Charlotte threw the belt on the ground, and that just caused like this whole big thing because they had to switch titles. I can't see them doing that in this situation. So I think this is telling, and I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that Io Sky is going to beat Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship. Because how do you have this whole storyline? You know, it was a great storyline because of the history between Charlotte and Rhea. Rhea wins the SmackDown title, women's title, and now you have to have her swap it and then she stays on Raw? I just feel like you did all that for nothing. You know, why then if you were going to do that, if you let's put it this way, if you always knew you were going to move Bianca to SmackDown, then you should have had Rhea challenge Bianca and then let her take the title at WrestleMania, and then you would have saved yourself the trouble. So I am going to go on that limb, and I'm going to say that Rhea is going to stay on SmackDown. Now, we might get that answer on Monday. And if that happens, if you hear, well, SmackDown's going to draft, let's say they take the whole Judgment Day, or they just take Rhea. Either way that Rhea ends up on SmackDown, and then Bianca's on SmackDown, you're going to have two women champions? Absolutely not. So somebody has to either go to Raw or stay on Raw to keep the championship there. And since Bianca's not staying there, my belief is Io Sky is going to win. I think that will be more written in stone once we find out what they do on Monday night. But I just think let Bianca drop the Raw title, give Io Sky that rub, and then let Bianca go to SmackDown and let her go challenge Rhea. Now, if that happens, I'm hoping that they don't take the title for Rhea, quickly. They could feud, and if you want to keep this thing going with Bianca Belair, I believe Bianca's undefeated at WrestleMania right now, and I believe in all her matches, Bianca has won the title, right? Because did she beat Becky the first time? Then she beat Sasha, and then she beat Asuka to retain. So twice she won the title there. Then she had one title defense. So if you want to keep that tradition going, then have her win Money in the Bank. I could definitely see that Bianca loses the Raw title to Io Sky, and she wins the Money in the Bank for the women, and then she challenges Rhea. I can see that happening. So let's see what happens with that down the road. This one I had correct. Street Profits to SmackDown. It had to happen. Again, similar to like how McIntyre ran his course on SmackDown, these guys have ran their course on Raw. And I think over time, we're finally going to see a split between them. I think it will be Dawkins turning heel. And I think the Street Profits are soon to be split up. I don't remember what I said about Edge, but Edge is going to SmackDown. Not much to say there, but that's fine. I would think Theory is going to get moved to SmackDown now because Gunther's going to Raw. So I think they're going to, and they do that with these drafts. Sometimes they swap Intercontinental United States Champion, or sometimes they leave them on the show. Now they're back to swapping. So, if I remember correctly, the U.S. title has been on Raw for quite some time now. So, fresh, AJ Styles, I believe I had AJ going to SmackDown. I really wasn't thinking about the whole OC thing. To tell you the truth, I kind of forgot about them because out of sight, out of mind. So I was not too surprised to see AJ Styles going. They did put Damage Control to SmackDown. I did say send Bayley, send Dakota Kai, but I said leave Io Sky on Raw. I think I was insinuating even then that she would win the title. I could have been wrong, but it's funny that I'm looking at Damage Control right now, and I said, leave Io Sky on Raw and send Dakota Kai and Bayley to SmackDown. So they have the whole group there. But again, if Io Sky wins, Io Sky can't go to SmackDown. So I think either we're going to see the end of Damage Control, or they'll probably get another member. Maybe we'll see Bayley turn on Io Sky because she wins and she's jealous, and we'll have to wait for an opportunity when they can sort of get their hands back on each other. You know what I mean? So we've got to see what happens with that. And then, some more NXT girls. are moving up to SmackDown, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. So therefore, they're going to have to vacate the titles as well when they come up. So first night, I think you had some obvious picks of those who are going to switch, and I think you had some surprises. To me, I think one of the surprises was Becky staying on Raw. That really surprised me. Shinsuke surprised me a little bit too, because I believe I did have him staying on SmackDown. Again, I think I skipped Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley going to SmackDown absolutely had to happen. He has certainly run his course on Raw, and he definitely needs something fresh. Him and Gunther could have been pretty good, but that's not going to happen. So the two things that I think is set in stone is that Austin Theory is going to go to SmackDown. I think that'll be good for him. To freshen it up some, even though we're not done. But I see Austin Theory going to SmackDown, and I see Io Sky winning the Raw champion, and I think Rhea stays on SmackDown. And I think the whole Judgment Day goes. I think Ray stays on SmackDown. Well, that's the funny thing, because the last draft, that's how. God, I'm trying to remember how the hell he did this. Because when Seth was a heel, he got sent to Raw because he was feuding with the Mysterios. And he got sent to Raw. And then the Mysterios came behind him. Okay, yes, that's how he got on Raw. Okay, yes, Mysterio is officially on SmackDown because remember, when the whole thing with Dominic was happening, he wanted to quit. And instead, they put him on SmackDown and they put the two on separate shows. That's how that went down. Okay, so Ray really is on SmackDown. I think they leave Ray on SmackDown. I think they move the Judgment Day over to SmackDown because it's not over yet with Dom and Ray. Now, there was talk that Ray's career is winding down and that, Dom could be the one that retires him. I don't know. I don't know if that's really something they should do. That part I don't know. But you have the Bad Bunny thing. You have Damian Priest. And I just think this continues past because Ray and the LWO, they're going to get involved in that match. And if they're all on SmackDown, it just makes sense. So I think Judgment Day is going to move to SmackDown, and that only helps because, again, Rhea's the champion. So that was the first night of the draft. It kind of makes me laugh a little bit of how they are really trying to make this like the NFL draft. And believe me, to me, it's no coincidence that they're picking the time to do the draft the same time that the NFL is doing their draft. So to me, that's no coincidence, but I just find it, funny how they're just trying to do it. If you remember, either it was last year or the year before, that they had the Raw war room, that the SmackDown war room, and this person's picking that person, and they're on the phone, a ghost chain, all that kind of stuff. But listen, it is what it is, what they try to do. I'm not knocking them. I just, find it comical sometimes on what they try to do. But listen, you want to be different. You want to show that you're on the same level as NFL and all that stuff. I get it. Like I said, I'm not mocking them. I get what they're doing. And they had the different guests come and read the cards and all that. That's fine. So let's see what happens on night 2. I'm still of the belief that the Brawling Brutes are going to switch over. I'm trying to think who else is left without looking at the stuff in front of me. I believe I had Karrion Kross going to Raw. I believe I have LA Knight staying on SmackDown. I think the LWO is going to stay on SmackDown. Seth, I'm going to leave Seth on Raw. Oh, God, Omos. What do they do with Omos? Does Omos stay on Raw or do they move him to SmackDown? Oh, man, that's hard. That's another hard one. Because they're trying so, I think Omos stays on Raw. I think Omos is going to beat Seth because Omos needs a win. He needs a win. And maybe, Seth gets his win back because he'll have to face Omos to get to get to the Raw World Heavyweight Championship. So I'm going to say that both of them are going to stay on Raw. The question is the Usos. What are they going to do with the Usos? Storyline wise, I think for the time being, he's going to ostracize them. And I think he's going to put them on Raw. That's what I think he's going to do. And I think you're going to see the storyline of them trying to figure out what can they do to get back to SmackDown to be back in the bloodline. I think that's what they're going to do. So, hope you enjoyed this little talk. Okay, again, like I said again, if I am wrong, call me out. Tell me, what were your picks? What were you surprised about? But on to night 2. I'll be back tomorrow with my preview for my predictions rather for WrestleMania Backlash. Even though I gave some of them now. Have a great weekend.